if you're an addict or you've been an addict, the intention of this video is to help you release any shame around this because addicts tend to feel lots of shame. I'm going to be talking today about why addicts are the modern day shamans, in hopes that this will, build you up a little bit to see that not only are you not like a piece of shit, but you're actually quite significant. My name is Adam. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before we get started, I just want to let you know I'm doing a few more free breakthrough calls. There's a link pinned in the comment section below. So these are calls where we get on Zoom for about a half hour and I just help you troubleshoot where you're stuck in your life, where you're blocked, where your issues are, what's stopping you from really moving forward and calling in, a much better life. Okay, so for those of you who haven't ever seen any of my videos, I struggled with addiction for many, many, many years. I was a really bad heroin addict and a cocaine addict and a crack cocaine addict. I did so much damage to myself. I nearly was irretrievable, and it took me, years to climb out of the hole that I dug. And one of the things that helped me was spending 2 years in this rehab. And it was a very tough love based rehab. And I'm immensely grateful for it. But like everything in life, it had its pros and cons, and it had its imbalances and things that it just didn't know. And I found there to be a lot of shaming in the rehab. Some of it was intentional, some of it was unintentional. And it always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because even though I needed discipline and I needed to be hit hard in certain ways, I didn't need to be broken down in other ways any more than I was, because the reason I was an addict to begin with was because I felt such shame about myself. And it took me years to even allow myself to think about what I want, because I just, all I heard was I'm selfish, self-seeking, you're fucked up for the rest of your life and you're always going to have this problem. So one of the reasons that we become addicts, well, the only real reason is because there is some sort of deep wound within ourselves. Some people say it's a disease, whatever. If that's helpful, that's great. I don't find it helpful to call it a disease anymore. It's the result of a lot of trauma and emotional wounding and an emptiness inside that we're looking to fill. The thing that, a lot of the 12-step programs don't seem to understand yet is that these things can be healed. They can. And that doesn't mean like if you can go shoot smack every day, because smack just creates a gnarly addiction regardless of a wounding, because your body gets addicted. But it does mean that you're not fucked up forever. Who tend to be addicts? The people that tend to be addicts are often very sensitive, very creative. They have a harder time functioning here because the more sensitive you are, the more you feel the pain, the more you feel the anger, the more you feel the shame, the more you feel you need something to compensate for that. But a lot of the people that are addicts are very advanced spirits. They're very advanced souls. Now, you may have a bit of trauma, but that would make sense, because if you've been on planet Earth for a long time, there's no way you're not going to have a shit ton of trauma, because planet Earth is basically a trauma factory. We're coming out of it now, but it's just kind of designed to create trauma so you can try to find your way out of it. Some people say Earth is a school. Some people say Earth is a prison. The truth is what the truth always is. It's both. It's a school on how to break out of prison. But they tend to be very advanced. Well, think of it this way. So the darker the night, the brighter the star. The more you've gone into the dark, the more potential you have to birth your light and the more things that you have to offer the world. But we also live in a society that's really fucking boring. It's fucking boring. And addicts, we go to school when we're young, and some part of us is just like, this is stupid. This is bullshit. You can feel that you're being programmed. You can feel that the information, the history of our world is dumbed down. It's not correct. You look at religion, you're like, this is nonsense. Most people look at atheism and you're like, well, I have no purpose or point to me. That doesn't really make sense either. where's the truth? It's very hard to find the right expression or challenge that the sort of more gifted or tenacious sort of addict spirit is looking for. My friend told me this a long time ago. She was like, addicts are the modern day shamans. They're the one, because the shamans are the ones that go into the darkness, into the extreme darkness, to learn how to handle the darkness and facilitate the darkness and transcend the darkness in order to help other people heal and come out of it. But that's not talked about in our society. It's not framed that way. So a lot of us just get lost and don't feel a sense of purpose or a point or a reason for any of it. And then we can't really come out of it because we were just kind of beaten down from the time we were children and told we were worthless pieces of shit. The other thing that a lot of addicts are drawn to, at least I was, is the danger. There's a danger in addiction, but it's healthy in a way to have a certain amount of danger because the danger is exciting. It kind of helps to facilitate courage, expansion, warrior skills, the development of like your warrior self. But again, it's not framed in a healthy way. I remember she was telling me that the addicts in this day and age were the ones that, were maybe like the Viking souls back in the day that would go out, and ride the waves on a boat, like, and go through the storms and these really sort of scary ventures out into the world that took a tremendous amount of courage. But because we live in this sort of sedentary, or however you pronounce that fucking word, world, there's not a lot of opportunity for that, unless you want to go to the army and just, die for the man, right? So my point in explaining all of this is that there's a huge gift that you have in your spirit. A lot of them. And you just weren't trained properly. You were beaten down from very, very early on. You weren't shown where to go or what to do with those abilities. And then you were told that you're selfish, self-seeking, you're a piece of shit, and be ashamed. So everything just got shut down. Now, the way to heal that is to acknowledge that you're not a fucking piece of shit, but that you're actually very gifted. Now, that doesn't mean you don't still have to work through the wounds or the trauma, because of course you do. But the way you heal trauma is to bring love into the dark, to bring love and compassion into that emptiness, that open wound that we all had. We're seeking source. Ultimately, we're seeking spirit, but we're also seeking expansion and adventure and fun and something that's not just complete fucking programmed, dumbed down bullshit like most of our world. Okay? So if you can just begin to adopt this foundation of like why you went into drugs or why you went into sex addiction, you can begin to forgive yourself for it. Because self-forgiveness, make amends to people you hurt, yeah, of course, but ultimately it's about forgiving yourself. It's just about forgiving yourself, finding where the gifts are in the trauma, finding where the gifts are in the darkness, finding, you were aiming for something, you were aiming to feel better, you were aiming to heal, and it was a good goal. Your aim was a little bit off, so you just want to sort of take the arrow and shoot it that way now, but you don't go like, fuck, I was bad, I fucked everything up. No, you didn't. Like, we all learn through trial and error and through making mistakes. And you were brave and you were bold. And I would just commend you for that. And know that when you really embrace this, you can start to shift your energy and start asking, like, what was it that you were really looking for in the addiction? What was it that you really wanted? And kind of feel this out and write out, like, why did it make you cool? Why did it make you I thought I was a badass because I was shooting heroin at 17. And in a way I was. I was taking risks no one else was taking. I was in the bathroom at first period with a needle in my arm. Is that the greatest thing to do with your life? No, but that was the part of me that was looking for some sort of daring venture. And because I had so much trauma, I couldn't do it in a healthy way or the way I wanted to, like by, being a musician or, being whatever it was that I wanted, to do that would have been a positive expression of that. But I was going for that, which means I still had that in me. And when I heal it, I can channel it in the right direction. So, how was all of that part of being a badass, and how can you transfer that intention over to something positive? And maybe you do need to go skydiving, or you need to, I don't know, you need to do somewhat healthy, dangerous things to sort of fulfill that warrior part of you, the shamanistic part of you, the healer part of you, the daring part of you. But there's a way to come into balance with it. There's a healthy middle way. So anyway, I just felt like kind of talking about that a little bit today. Addicts are the modern day shamans. And it's true, we just weren't supported by our world. But you can learn now. You can learn now. One last thing I want to say is, if you have 2 months sober, you do need to listen to other people. You do need guidance. We got bad guidance, okay? But don't write off thinking for yourself at all, because the people that think for themselves are the people that do something really cool. They think you were thinking out of the box by being an addict. It's good to think out of the box. You just need to also listen, find the right people that can help you, and those should be people that help you, show you where you need to get on track, and also encourage you to learn to think for yourself as you heal and grow. Okay? Don't ever give up on the ego addict self should not be thinking for itself, but there's a greater part of you that if you demonize thinking for yourself on all levels, you won't listen to, and you need to listen to that. It takes a while to get in touch with that, and it takes some experimenting, but that's a gift. That's freedom, and that's what you were looking for in the addiction: freedom and love. Anyway, thank you so much. Again, I have free breakthrough calls below if you want to book one. I always appreciate everybody who watches my video. Feel free to comment, let me know what you think. Other than that, until next time, bye.